Hey everybody, how's it going? I hope you're all having a lovely day. So today I'd like to talk about putting all your eggs in one basket and a mistake that I've made as a small business owner in the hopes that you don't make the same mistake. I didn't think I was putting all my eggs in one basket because for my chat services, for my ticketing system, for my SIP trunking services, for the phone system at the store and the PBX that I use, all of this, different companies, eggs in different baskets. What I didn't realize until today is that every single one of these different services by different companies and different providers all use AWS. So that if AWS goes down, I have issues with my ticketing system, I have issues with my phone system, I have issues with my chat system, and the worst one of them all was the phone system where for 7 hours I couldn't make phone calls. And one of the interesting things is I have a different part that deals with the provisioning of my phone number so that I can say where it gets forwarded to. Does it get forwarded to my SIP trunking system that I pay for that goes to the PBX I have at the store? Or does that go to, let's say, my cell phone? And that part didn't work as well. So not only did I not have a working SIP trunking system, I could not even forward the store's phone number to my cell phone, which I do in cases of emergency, and the 1 or 2 times this has gone down in the past, because that was also dealing with AWS. So I thought that I had my eggs in different baskets because I was using different companies and different services to be able to do all the different things I do. But since all of these different companies that I utilize are all using AWS, if AWS has an issue, it doesn't just affect this one small thing in my business, it affects everything. And one of the things that I've learned is that I should ask the providers, who are you using for the backbone for your services? But also, what are you going to do if this particular company has an outage? Now, I'm looking at a different company for SIP trunking now. Not because I think AWS has worse downtime than everybody else. It's not because I think Amazon Web Services is inherently less reliable. That's not the case. Rather, I do not want to be in a situation where if one company has an issue, my website doesn't work, my ticketing system doesn't work, my online chat doesn't work, my phone system, where everything goes down because of one company. If there is going to be something horrible happen, I would rather that horrible thing happening somewhere that I have no control over only affect this small portion of my company rather than everything. And AWS is being utilized in more areas of society by more companies doing more just different and diverse things. And what that means is that creates a single point of failure for your business, as I figured out incredibly painfully today. Admittedly, there's other things, when it comes to, I use VoicePulse FIVE. They have a support ticket system. It's kind of designed for you to not make tickets. Like when you go to hit support, you have to go to a different area of their website that actually uses a different login, username, and password than the one you have here that you have to register for separately. When you use that section, it auto-solves your tickets because you're not supposed to use that. You're supposed to use a separate email altogether that's on another section. It's one of those sites that's kind of malicious, in my opinion, maliciously designed in a manner where they just don't want you contacting them. And when you call them on the phone, it just goes to something that continues to beep and never actually gets anywhere, even when AWS doesn't have downtime. So this has been something I honestly probably should have done several years ago because we've had issues on and off with them. But the real driving factor here is I don't want to be in a situation where, Jeff Bezos takes a shit and everything in my business stops working. So if you have ticketing, if you have a provider that you use for your POS system, if you have a provider that you use for your ticketing system, for your chat system, for your POS system, for your credit card services processing, for your phone system and everything else, one question I think is worthwhile to ask: A, what is the backbone for your services? B, what do you use if that goes out? And if they don't really have an answer if that goes out, but more importantly, they're all using the same provider, think about the impact it can have on your business if that one provider takes a shit. I don't think anybody would have imagined that the AWS outage that happened today would affect everybody from a phone system in a repair shop to something going on at Disney. But it really did. It had wide-reaching effects throughout the U.S., even though it is just one company, one provider's systems that went out. And this is like, it even went to smart homes. Like if you could look here at Bloomberg News, it even goes out to what was going on with people who have smart homes. Let's see if I can get that on the screen over here for you all to see. And here we go. So Amazon looks like it sparks anger as fridges stop people and we're locked out. This is crazy. The disruptions began at 10 a.m. Eastern Time Tuesday, upended package deliveries, took down streaming services, prevented people from getting into Walt Disney's theme parks. People were tweeting their frustrations to Ring's official account because there are smart doorbells. I'm an Amazon driver and the outage is also hitting us. We cannot make deliveries, so we're just playing karaoke. The AWS outage has trickled down to my automated Christmas lights not turning on tonight. My parents are aware of it because their smart home light bulbs aren't responding to voice commands, so you can't turn on your light bulbs. I mean, this is insane. There are serious consequences to having this much of society dependent on one company's network, one company's server, and I most certainly learned my lesson today, which is to ask the providers that I'm utilizing, do you utilize AWS? Again, I'm not saying that they inherently have more downtime. Rather, that there is a danger to having every single thing in your life run on one set of systems, run by one company. Having that type of single point of failure is really bad. And again, it's one thing if your phone doesn't work. But imagine, just think about it. Let's say your phone doesn't work, whatever. But now you can't provision your number to be used somewhere else because that provider also uses AWS for that section, so you can't forward it. And because your chat system also uses AWS, if they email or try to chat with you, that doesn't work properly either because your chat provider also uses AWS. And if you actually try to look up what's going on with their computer because they walk in the store with an issue, that they also use AWS. Like, can you see what a nightmare this is? And yet we have had issues where AWS... Now, luckily, they didn't all go down at the same time, but if that would have just been an absolute shit show altogether. But I'm just saying this because I know there's probably other people out there that don't ask these questions of the providers that they're using for all of their services so that you don't end up as vulnerable as we were today. Because this sucked. And I'm taking action to make sure that this never fucking happens to us again. And I am cleaning up my act with this. And if any of you have not cleaned up your act with it, it's just a suggestion to think about it. You may not even understand the degree to which AWS is tied into your life. Maybe you'll learn your lesson today the tough way that I did. But if you haven't, it's just something to think about for the future so that you're prepared. Because it really does feel like getting caught with your pants down when you realize that so much of your business is reliant on one company's server farm, one company's systems, that if they have when you thought that you were dealing with a bunch of different companies, but in reality, all those companies are using this one company for their hosting. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something from my stupidity. Bye now.